The one and only multiverse presents a grand unified theory. Fusion, elements, compounds, and molecules. Subatomic, atomic and quantum fields. Hans Bath, 1906–2005, age 99. Proton-neutron coupling. Quantum field fusion. Primal hydrogen, 1 proton, 1 electron, no neutron. There are isotopes of hydrogen that have neutrons, but the primal element hydrogen has only 1 proton, and no neutron. Helium, 2 protons, 2 neutrons, 2 electrons. There are isotopes of helium that have more or fewer neutrons, but the element helium always has 2 protons. This web page and video are not AI generated. Your host, Richard E. Noer. Significant events for a magnetic bonding. The fusion phenomena. 1. Primal matter. Primal space gets converted into tiny, spinning universal particles, dark matter particles. 2. Dark matter particles, because of their spin, fuse into strings. Pole to pole to pole magnetic configuration. 3. Dark matter strings form CW and CCW, torus, twine, ropes, and chains, with a looping magnetic spin and flow. 4. The looping of CW ropes meet end to end, bond, and form a horn torus structure. The CCW loops don't close. The horn torus structure is spinning with an axis. Proton. 5. Spinning protons develop adjacent, energetic magnetic dark matter fields. Quantum torus, and stacked ring planes. 6. Spinning protons drag around a cloud of dark matter particles in outer quantum fields, which causes the cloud to make magnetic strings and twine. 7. The CCW twine chains in the orbiting cloud loop around and close their CCW loops into a horn torus configuration. The CW fields don't close. An electron. 8. Protons and their quantum fields in space gather together and spin faster and faster. The proton cloud produces more perimeter gravity and central core compression, along with a polar magnetic flow. XCP dark energy plays a major role in this phenomena. 9. Spontaneous hydrogen fusion and neutron creation. Oscillating dark energy of a protostar's outer quantum fields converts some protons and bonds them to neutrons by a squeezing and relaxing magnetic attraction. Because dark energy is oscillating its force, other protons don't bond to protons, they become only single neutrons. 10. Quantum field fusion. Each single element, atom, has only one unique quantum field structure. When they combine, compact, there are huge amounts of leftover dark matter particles. Particle radiation energy. 11. Proton-neutron bonding, with nucleus spin energy, produces a single, unique, vibrating single element with a proprietary quantum field structure. This in turn combines all independent fields into one quantum formation, and produces copious amounts of external light, heat, and magnetic radiation. 12. First-generation stars. Spontaneous hydrogen, helium, silicone, iron fusion. Atomic bonding, up to, and including iron. Heavier elements than iron are not produced by spontaneous fusion. 13. First-generation stars forms basic proton-neutron bonding. Second-generation stars create heavier elements and new proprietary quantum fields. 14. Multiple atomic element bonding, with multiple quantum fields, form molecules. 15. Molecular bonding, form structures, moons, planets, stars, galaxies and black stars. Item 9. Spontaneous atomic hydrogen fusion, A, it is gravity that first attracts primal protons and their dark matter quantum fields together in a dense cloud in space. As the cloud becomes more compact because of the gravitational pulling force, it will begin rotating. This sets up an internal, external, polar gravity flow, through, in and out of the cloud. B. As the polar gravity flow continues, rotation will accelerate, and the internal, external particle polar streams will compress as they twist and flow through the center of the cloud. The spinning cloud now has more C-dark energy in its center region. When the rotation energy of the cloud accelerates, dark energy continues compressing the inner cloud even more. This pulls spinning protons and quantum dark matter particles closer together in the cloud's interior. C. As the rotation of the cloud progresses, the quantum fields of protons in the interior do not pull on their neighbors anymore. This is because of central dark energy forces. They now have a slowing, stronger, pushing effect. These modified hydrogen quantum fields now have more potential and less active energy. TM calls this force XCP dark energy. D. The cloud has now become a spherical layered structure, with spinning polar gravity and anti-gravity currents through its axis. This has compressed the gravity currents and the inner cloud's hydrogen quantum fields. E. There is an area where the gravity of space has compacted dark matter particles, and the internal dark energy pushing force of the cloud are equal. This is the zone where fusion of primal hydrogen into helium can occur. F. The dark energy pressure force on a proton's inner ring field forces the proton's CCW fields through its axis, which creates a neutron, and weakens its inner ring field. It is the oscillating, pulling, pushing force of XCP dark energy that decreases pressure on the protons and their quantum fields, which in turn converts some protons into neutrons. Want more? See quantum field page, item 8. Details of the conversion. N. This represents one neutron in a core ring field of a single hydrogen atom. P. This represents a single proton in the core field of a hydrogen atom. A. When protons have the right pole and plane orientation, in quantum ring fields that can oscillate between pushing and pulling, is where hydrogen-helium fusion can occur. It is the pushing force of internal dark energy against the potential force of external quantum fields that squeezes some protons. When this happens, it causes the internal counter-rotational non-looping fields of some protons through their axis, thus creating neutrons. The protons that were converted are now surrounded by a weakening center quantum ring field in a spinning proton cloud. B. The former proton inner ring field now has a neutral charge. This allows another proton to enter the area, but it is not converted because of the bigger, relaxed, no charge ring field. The proton core field is now configured, NP. The changing quantum field has become larger, with a low but increasingly positive charge, so the inner core ring field strengthens a little bit. C. When another proton enters the core, it gets converted because of the strengthening field, along with compression. The nucleus in the changing ring fields of protons are now configured, NPN. Don't forget they all still reside in a spinning compressed proton cloud. We are not done yet. D. The present, NPN, configuration of the nucleus ring fields have a lesser charge and are relaxing once more. This presents a hole for another proton. E. When another proton enters the area there is no conversion, but the hole is filled, and the area becomes much more positive. The core proton ring fields are now configured, NPNP. That's it, the balance of gravity, dark energy, and helium atomic force has been realized. There will be no more conversion. Helium nuclei quickly rebuild quantum fields. F. Because the former multiple quantum fields of hydrogen have now condensed into one, there is an enormous energy release of heat, light and magnetic radiation. A first-generation star has just been created. G. Oh my! If you still have questions about this sequence, a slightly more detailed explanation is available on the quantum fields page, item 8. This fusion analogy conflicts with the standard model, because it is assumed that a high compression of stellar core gravity is needed to fuse the hydrogen into helium. This stems from a misunderstanding of the physics of gravity, dark energy, and magnetic bonding. Fusion can only occur if you have the right proton-neutron orientation, elasticity, and movement. The individual proton core fields must be able to oscillate between attraction and repulsion. This does not occur in the proton cloud center, but it does in the equalized gravity dark energy perimeter fields. There is no evidence for stellar core fusion, so it is a concept without proof. On the contrary, there is plenty of evidence for a zonal fusion. Compacting star or a proton spinning cloud core decreases proton and quantum field movement. B. Stellar or proton cloud gravity cannot and will not run away with itself, it stops, and dark energy takes over. The gravity, dark energy phenomena is critical to explain how stars are born, evolve, and die, thus creating heavier and heavier elements and bodies. There is one more critical fact to remember. Atomic fusion is a complex process and takes time. On the other hand, atomic fission is fast and takes little time. That is why there are no hydrogen fusion bombs. Dmitry Mendeleev, 1834 to 1907, age 73. Stars create the elements. Do you have the periodic table memorized? We don't, so here it is. Now that we have established how spontaneous fusion begins, then creates neutrons and binds them with protons, thus creating hydrogen and helium atoms, things are about to get more complex. When a star's inner hydrogen fuel has been substantially depleted, but it still has plenty of free protons and neutrons along with dark energy in its fusion band, it goes to work fusing the now abundant helium atoms with new neutron-proton pairings. This is a more complex process but is not hard to understand if you have the basics in place. The fusion band continues to create neutrons and bond them to protons. This in turn can attach combinations of protons and neutrons to a helium nucleus or the nucleus of other elements, thus creating different atomic structures. Keep in mind that a star's XCP dark energy weakens with its elemental fusion. The next element on the periodic table is lithium with 3 protons, but there are isotopes, lithium-7. This means that the new elements can have complex proton-neutron pairings and differing quantum fields, but they do form their own structures because of nucleus spin energy. B. Each time an element is created, it forms only one unique quantum ring and torus field system. All the fields of the protons or the proton-neutron nuclei, that have abandoned their individual original quantum structures, have become a single new atom, with a single, more dense, quantum field structure. This produces a large abundance of free particles and energy, and compresses the area until all universal dark matter particles can equalize. Notice that lithium is heavier than hydrogen. This has an important effect with dark energy. Continuing up the periodic table, there is beryllium, boron, carbon, and so on, and so on. The process of attaching protons to neutrons and atomic nuclei are the same, but with a continued depletion of available particles, fusible nuclei, and dark energy. When the process of fusing silicone begins and ends, it has been theorized that you wind up with iron. TM goes along with this because there is a complex mathematical explanation that seems to confirm the pairing of atomic nuclei, along with protons and neutrons. It has to be physically possible. In other words, the numbers have to add up, and the physical size and the DMI of the particles have to be able to intermingle. Now for a big conclusion. TM predicts that iron is the end of the road for spontaneous fusion. What? Why? How? This is because of the energy level of the proton and neutron. They can no longer stick together. They have become too compressed at this energy level. They have to have more spin energy and smaller dark matter particles with a new magnetic lock to continue. Finally, when a star loses some of its XCP dark energy because of the depletion of proton fuel, and/or spin compression, it is at the mercy of the gravity of the dark matter particles from space. Depending on the size of the star and all its components, a ripping apart of particle quantum structures in the fusion band, because of the gravity from space, is a real possibility. B. The end game of fusion: small stars no explosion, big stars go nova, huge stars go supernova, and much bigger stars creates colossal inward core compression fields, along with a super concentration of particles. An explosion, implosion. C. The core remnant and fields of a supernova have created elements that are heavier than iron and a gravity level of 2. D. In the core remnant of an extreme star, supernova, there are no protons, no electrons, but there are neutrons. Lots of them, and they are spinning in a single unified structure. This has created a neutron star, and it is the third stage of gravity. This star is super dense and has a closed structure, meaning it can't add any particles, elements, or matter from space, but, and this is a big one, it can merge with another neutron star if the conditions are just right. E. There is one more level of gravitational attraction, it's level 4. When an extremely large star fusion band explodes, supernova type 2+, it condenses its core so hard that even neutrons don't survive, only universal dark matter particles do. This in turn creates a remnant like no other, it is a cosmic wonder, a black star. This is because matter cannot be created or destroyed, or fall into a hole of space-time. TM. Did I leave something out? Yes. This would be compound and molecular quantum field fusion. This phenomena is not produced in an active star's outer bands, it happens in the debris field left behind from a star's demise. This is because the fusion of elements and their quantum fields to make molecules needs a cooler, more relaxed environment. Leftover hydrogen and oxygen from an exploded star combine to create water. Other elements join in to create other molecules and rocky structures. In this area there is no conversions of protons into neutrons, but now there is a magnetic expansion force with the coupling of elemental quantum fields. A recap: spontaneous fused elements are made in a star's fusion band, not its core. When a star explodes, it's because of the decrease in its XCP dark energy and the ripping currents from space. A star's element-rich fusion band explodes first, not the core. Depending on the volume and the g-forces of a large star, ripping currents from space could completely destroy or consume the whole star. If a proton is linked with a neutron, spontaneous compression will not turn the linked proton into a neutron. Only primal hydrogen starts spontaneous fusion. When a star explodes and implodes, it scatters some of its unused hydrogen, along with other elements, compounds, and molecules into space. Compounds and molecules are made from a star's debris: water, rocky matter, comets, asteroids, meteors, dust. Atomic, subatomic, magnetic bonding. Man-made fusion, fission. Fusion in the torus tokamak. Fusion? Hell no. This is the power of fission. In TM, it is logically possible to achieve a sustained hydrogen fusion reaction without the force of gravity, and just use protons, quantum fields, and magnetic force. Dark energy. This requires different criteria. A. For fusion to occur, there must be the right amount of mobility for protons in a hydrogen quantum zone to orientate. B. There must be the right amount of pressure, magnetic force, so the newly established nucleus can spin, combine, and create new quantum structure. C. There must be an environment for hydrogen to exist next to a fusion reaction, but not quite in a fusible state. D. There must be connectivity for adjoining atoms to replenish a fusion reaction. Compression, containment area. E. There must be enough strong magnetic force to keep the reaction in place but allow venting. XCP dark energy. As you can see, this may be possible, but to achieve these parameters there are some very big engineering problems. It is all about being able to manipulate a magnetic environment to achieve what nature does so easily. A hydrogen neutron bomb? Now for something that nobody has considered. In TM theory, when protons are squeezed hard and from all sides, the pressure causes its non-looping torus fields through the center of the proton's spinning axis. This converts it into a neutron. What? Yes. This event has been backed up by countless observations and theoretical compatibility. How else would a neutron be made? Certainly not by harmonious pairing of QLBHF particles in the center of a supercompressed environment, like the center of an atom bomb. So the conclusion is, yes, there is fusion in a nuclear bomb, but it is not the fusing of lithium deuteride into helium or tritium, it is the fusion, closing of the CCW torus fields of all protons in the lithium deuteride. This in turn creates extreme numbers of neutrons, with super high energy levels, and accounts for the vast number of atomic core collisions all at once. The energy release is not the relatively slow fusion process, it is the fast energy release of fission. Your host, Richard E. Noer. Young me. Mini me. Email, noerastronomy@gmail.com. Here in a multiverse, our goal is to find the cosmic truth. No matter where, or how far it takes you. The universe truly does unify. If you get the basics right.